Good afternoon, everyone. I cannot see you, but I know that there are lots of you and you're joining. Wonderful. Welcome, everyone. Thank you, first of all, for your registration, for taking your time to come together and be with us. I'm so glad you have come. So we are going to start really soon. Maybe someone else is joining. Yes. Hello. Thank you for writing. Yeah, it's very great you are writing where you're from. I'm waiting a little bit more. Lutsk, Mirgorod, Odessa, Dnipro. Hello. Good afternoon. By the way, I am from Lviv. My name is Julia Bodnar. And tell you a little bit about myself while you're joining. So I'm a teacher, a senior teacher, a methodologist and a trainer of Green Country English School and TalkEn.Cloud platform. And I'm so glad to all the time to meet my colleagues, to study. And as you know, teacher is a student forever. So everyone is studying, everyone is trying to take some webinars, some trainings for ourselves, right? And it helps us to develop our teaching skills. So I'm passionate about learning, studying something new. Speaking about today's topic, we are going to cover with you, which is a given instruction. I was also interested in it at all. I have read some articles about that. Watched methodological webinars as well. So, and what I'm gonna tell you about today is mostly based on two main sources. It was a short course from great university that I have already taken. It was great. Also recommend for someone who want to develop in methodological way, so you can take some great universities courses. And also I am a member of a tutor secret club. Maybe some of you also know about this or even is a part of it as well. And there regularly are some methodological webinars appearing, and they are so helpful in my teaching career. Okay, yeah, I seen your comments. Hello from Dnipro. Hello, nice to see you here too in comments. Great. So before we start, I'd like to remind some important information according what's going on afterwards. Yes, because everyone is interested in a certificate after the participation in the webinar, right? And so on and so forth. So what is important to remember? The recording of this webinar is being done, so you will always have a possibility to watch it again on our YouTube channel, TalkEn.Cloud. And after this webinar, you will receive a letter on your email that you have written and you have mentioned when you registered for it. So there you will see all the materials with brief and the most important information from our webinar, and also a test that you're going to complete in order to receive a certificate. So after the successful completing of the test, you will receive your certificate as well. So don't worry, everything will be on your emails. Sometimes we were having some questions, where is the test? So it's not here on YouTube channel. Please check your emails. Sometimes for some reasons that can be in the spam folder. So be attentive and you will receive everything there. Hello, hello, newcomers. Great. Wonderful. So I'm looking at your comments parallelly, so great. You're right that you hear me and see me well. Everything is okay, so we're about to start then. Oh, sorry. So the topic, as you know from registration, from some questions that were given before, today we are speaking about given instructions and how to make that effective. First of all, when I was thinking about that, and maybe lots of us can agree that what can be hard with instructions? And while having a lesson, we can say what can be easier than that. And after that, when we have a lesson, and sometimes maybe nobody can say that he or she couldn't have a situation when you said what to do. And students then said, what? Or you made them working in breakout rooms, so then you join breakout room, trying to monitor, and what you see, what do we need to do? What did she say? What page? Even if you gave a very successful instruction, sometimes it can happen just because students were not attentive, or maybe someone has got troubles with connection, internet, if it is online lesson, or just were flying somewhere. So it's not about you. But unfortunately, sometimes it is about us and about the way we are given instructions. So I want now, yes, thank you. So someone has already started writing that they can be long and not clear. Yeah, today we will speak about some fault that could be with our instructions and how to overcome such troubles. And now I'd like you to write down, just in chat, write down one if you had such situations at your lessons when students didn't understand what to do. If you had, write 1. If you didn't, 0. Hello, Tatiana, I see you've just joined. Hello. Okay, waiting for your 1 or 0. 1, you had. 0, you didn't. How everything is always okay, and students understand all the time. Oh, okay, I see 1. Thank you for your participation, of course. Yes. Oh, okay. I'm not the only one who had such a situation in my career and teaching days. Yes, so that's why there is the field to improve all the time, right? And that is what we are going to do now. One comment, they say they understand, but later asked what should they do. That is what I said, and that we always have in our experience. Okay, look, let's start with the first thing, which is definition. What is instruction? There can be different, but the easiest, the most, I would say, understandable for me that I have taken was this. Instruction is a part of a task cycle provided for the students to have a clear idea what to do and how to do the task, right? Why I was speaking about just tasks? Because all our lessons they consist of different types of tasks we give for first checking understanding, then practicing or producing the target language they are studying, right? And that's why every task has got its own stages, and all the tasks consist of instruction, monitoring, and feedback. Right, so and the first one is instruction. As if the instruction was given effectively, then other stages are also more likely to be effective. So on the monitoring stage, you will not need to give or repeat your instruction again because they have understood that before. And at the feedback stage, you will have something for feedback, because if the students are half of time you have given them for the task, they are still discussing what to do. Of course, the task or activity will not be effective and will not give us any results in the end to analyze and to give comments on that. All right. Now I'm gonna show you just examples. What I want you to do now, I'm gonna show you 2 examples of instructions. Please listen attentively and then say which was successful and which was not, the first or the second. Okay, so I need to stop sharing a little bit for a second. Okay, example number 1. So now look at me, please. We are going to practice a new grammar that we have learned recently. Work individually and circle the correct answers. You need to choose present perfect or present perfect continuous and think why you choose this or that option. First, let's do number 1 together. Read the first sentence and think what is correct. You have 15 seconds for thinking. Okay, thank you. So, and now, do you work individually or in pairs? Yes, individually. What should you do with the correct answer? Yes, circle, very good. And should you be ready to explain what is correct answer? Yes. Okay, you have 5 minutes, around 5 minutes for this task. You may start now. Okay, this was the first example. And now let's take a look at the second one. Now I'm going to show you the task. Here it is. Please look at it now. I'd like you to do this task. It's a grammar task of the grammar that we have already learned. And work individually, or maybe you want to work in pairs, you can choose. Do you see the task? Okay, let's start. So it was the second. Maybe it would be obvious, but now I'd like you to write in chat which of these examples do you find effective and not. Please write just what was effective, 1 or 2. What was methodologically correct. I'll be waiting for you a little bit. I see the first answers. Okay, yes. So all of you agree that the effective one was the first. I also think so. Now, the second thing I'd like you to do is, please, if you say that the second one was not effective, not correctly given, which is true, please think what was wrong. I'd like you to scan this code. This is Padlet board. and comment, please. What were mistakes in the second example? So here I will see your answers, and here you have the QR code. You can comment like really shortly, bullet points, so what was wrong and what you didn't like, would like to improve. Good mood was good. Okay. So please let's write me in chat if the QR code is working and you can scan it. Maybe I haven't received the answers yet. Okay, I see. Super. Some of your answers. Try to reload the page. Okay, it was from the previous one. Sorry, it was left from the previous questionnaire. Yeah, I see, for example, here some of you says that it was not clear, you didn't ask for understanding. Super. What else? I didn't see it here, unfortunately, but now I received your answers also on my Gmail, and I'm gonna read it. It wasn't clear. Yes, didn't ask for understanding. Okay. Thank you. So let's move on to our presentation. What else was wrong? I'm gonna share also some of ideas with you. So instructions, even if you could see that the second example was shorter, but instructions themselves were a bit wordy. Like, I'm going to show you, now I'm gonna open, yes, so some words that have not any meaning are not needed at all. Also the handout, so here what I want to pay attention to. I showed you like an example of a worksheet. It happens mostly at offline lessons when we have not a textbook, but for example, we have prepared a task, we put a worksheet and there is a task and it was given a bit too early. So I have shown, and maybe if I were there, students received the cards and they don't listen to you. They start reading what is on the page. So it was given too early. Speaking about online lesson, it would be like sharing screen was a task. Yeah, so it was too early done. Then instructions were incomplete. It was like you said, I didn't even tell them what to do. Do they need to write or maybe just read, circle, underline? What? I just tell them, do the task. Maybe I could think that they are adult enough, or maybe I have worked with them for some time before and they already know what to do. But that experience shows that no, even some tasks that were done before, some of them cannot get it, and you need to check if they understand. And also interaction patterns were confused. Do you remember I said you can work individually or in pairs, you can choose. Sometimes this independence works well, but not when you give instruction for the task. Students cannot decide what can they do, work individually, in person, or in group, because all these groupings, all these things are aimed, yes, when we are preparing for the lesson, we usually think about it. Why here they work individually and then check in pairs, what it gives, what aim is that, and so on. So these were just some, the most, how to say, okay, the most important things that were taken from examples that I have given before. But what else can go wrong with instructions? For example, students don't listen to you or don't see the task that you're presenting. How can it look like? They were doing the previous task, maybe you gave feedback of it, and then you start explaining a new one, just hoping that students are listening and ready to do the next task. But what are they doing at this time? Someone is looking at this page. Someone is just trying to go through the pages of the book because they like to look at the pictures there. And you gave your instruction and then realize that 1-2 people from a group have heard you. So it can be the trouble that not everyone listens to you. Then we are speaking about the tips and how to do that. But here I just would like to underline what could be the possible troubles, okay? And sorry, or don't see the task. It when, for example, you work only with a course book, you always keep it in your hands, explaining something, and students even don't see what should they do. Or you don't share a screen of the book when you are online. It also doesn't work well because you need to show them materials at the right time, not too early, but not too late as well. The next thing. The teacher uses too complicated constructions and language isn't graded. It's also, I hope that you know what I mean. When you have especially beginner students, groups or individuals, and you start saying like this, you are going to look through this text and find out the reasons why this man was thinking like this or that. First, it was too long. Second, do your students really know what does it mean to look through, to find out? Yes, there are some phrasal verbs or some language that is learned on the higher levels, and especially if you have different students, different level students, sometimes you can get used to use the same language to everyone, but be attentive with that, because especially beginners will look and they don't know what construction they are learning at the lesson, and here they need to understand also what do you want from them in this instruction. So it's too hard for them, and more likely that they will not be ready with the task and will be asking you, or if they work in groups, they will speak in their native language, asking, what is this, can you translate, and so on. And also, my sentences were too long. I just could say, read the text and find why he was at school, for example. Yeah, so read, find, and that is enough at this level. Also, when there is too much teacher talk, sometimes we are that excited of the topic even. And when starting given instruction, we can give some details that are not needed at this stage at all. Yes, for example, you want to give your students a video, to watch the video. Maybe this is a lead-in for the lesson. And you say, you know, yesterday I was watching the BBC channel, and there are lots of interesting movies and some documentaries about nature. And as today we are studying this topic, I found it really useful for you, and now I want you to watch. Yeah, of course we like it, we are excited, but do they need these details? No. So here we just say, let's watch the video from the BBC channel, and that's it. And after that, some following instructions, which would be important for them in order to complete the task. And also, the teacher speaks too fast. Even if you use short sentences, even if they are well graded according to the student's level, if you speak too fast, students will be confused, and they will not be that confident in what to do, because they're going to be processing the information, stressing, and maybe losing that. So just let's keep this in mind. I also find it a great reminder, because we all struggle with the same things during the lessons, and of course, they cannot be ideal. Sometimes they maybe will happen, but keeping that in mind will help us to improve and avoid some things like this. Okay, it's time to go to the next step. And coming back to the first example that you have found useful and a good example, I'd like you to think about stages. What were the stages of given instruction? But before, I will go back to this QR code. I saw that Ira, dear Ira, you wrote that you couldn't scan the code. Please try again. And everyone, let's scan this code again, because you will have the opportunity to share your thoughts in this Padlet during the webinar, so I would ask you not to close this page, okay? If for some reason someone still cannot scan the code, don't worry. If I ask you to share something, you can also use chat, but the one problem is that I can see your answers a little bit later because of this time that needed for this. Okay, let's move on. Stages. What were the stages of given a good instruction? I will come back a little bit for the first example, and one by one we will analyze it. First, I say, now look at me, please. We are going to practice, and so on. First was, look at me, please. It was attracting attention. What goes next? I say, we are going to practice the new grammar now. It was the purpose of the task. And here is the question, should we always say about it? Of course, it depends, but usually when we say not only what we are doing, but like why, here I didn't just say, okay, let's do this task, circle the answers, but we are going to practice this new grammar, especially for adult students or higher level students. it looks more meaningful. Yes, we always ask ourselves, why do I need to do this? Okay, we are practicing new grammar. Or if we give the speaking task, now you are going to practice using new phrases for giving advice. And they know why they are doing that. So after attraction, purpose of the task. Then I said, work individually. Yes, and circle the task. So here it was really shortly done. Work individually. I set the interaction pattern. Then I said what to do. Circle the correct option. Present simple, or I'm sorry, present perfect or present perfect continuous. And be ready to explain why do you think so. And only after that, yeah, I shared materials. Share materials, I mean to give this handouts if they are handouts to students, and if you work offline, at this stage you can give them before doing task 1. But showing the task is from this stage, from saying what to do. Yes, I was taking this card, showing, circling, or underlining, and students, okay, I need to do this, that. Then you share materials with them, and they pay attention on the task themselves, and you are doing the example task with them together. Yes, then I said, read the first sentence. Very important here to give them the time to look through the task. After doing the first task together, there were 3 check-in understanding questions, or ICQs, about which we also are going to speak today. Then I set the time limit, which was about 5 minutes, and a signal to start is really short and can be given in different ways, like here, let's do it, you can start now, and so on. Now we are going to speak a little bit about these stages more detailed, and we have some tips on how to do it and how to make it successful. So I'm sorry, I need a second to take my charger. I'm sorry. Okay, now it will be working. So there are some tips according to all of these stages that we have while giving instructions. So this is the golden rule to remember. First, attention, and then instruction. Why? Because if students are not listening to us, we will need to explain again, to repeat to individual ones, to even to make it again and again, so it will take lots of time. The best thing to do in the beginning is just to see that all the students are looking at you. If it is offline, this is more easier, right? Because they are sitting and then holding their heads and they are looking at you. If they are, this is online, especially if you work with students who don't turn on their cameras, which is the most troublesome, I would say. But usually they share their cameras and everything is okay. So just need to be sure they are looking at you. And we can do it just asking, look at me, please, and wait. Or listen. Then give them these 3-5 seconds to really listen, to stop doing their stuff and looking at you. And when you are sure that they are, then you can start giving your instruction. Next, as we said, was assigning interaction patterns at the start of the instruction. Why it is useful? It's not the rule. Yeah, you can say that they are working individually or in pairs a little bit later, but doing it in the beginning will help you not to forget about that, and them to know in what way they are doing that. If we speak about offline lessons, that is important to assign these pairs and show who works with whom before giving instruction. So now you're working in pairs. You two, it's better, yeah? Especially starting working with beginners, even if you say make pairs, it could be not good. They cannot be not. It can be misunderstood or something. Group together, taken or sit in trios. So not to be lost, you can just show you two, and you two. Sit together. Yes, they sit together and they are ready to listen to your instructions. After that, one more tip that we have already mentioned that you have written in this questionnaire, right? That instructions should be short, clear, and with imperatives. Here we need to be really attentive, because imperatives are not always good. So if you also always say repeat, no, we do it in the nice way. Listen, please. Repeat, please, because students are following you, and maybe then in their speech they will only say repeat, listen to, watch, and so on. We do it shortly, but in a nice way as well. And do not use too much teacher talk, as I have mentioned before too. And of course, materials should be given to students before doing the first example together, because they need to see what they are doing and how it is done. And like saying what to do, this stage, it is a little bit more longer than the previous all the other ones, because especially if the task has got some steps, it's important to give the instruction to each of them separately. So yeah, if for example a task consists of reading, answering the questions, and like choosing true, false, and then comparing, we don't say them right away. Read the text, find the proofs, what is true, what is false, then compare in pairs. No, we say it shortly, then ask ICQs if they are needed right after each of the separate part, in order to be sure that they really got it, especially if they are long tasks. Also, doing an example task isn't always needed. It's obvious too, because if you work with a group for some time, and every lesson they have the task of filling in the gaps, it's not needed to do the first task as an example. Yes, so please look, and what do we need to do? They see it, and you can just ask ICQs, give them, okay, you can start without doing this first example. But if the task is new, or the group is new, that is helpful to pay attention to this first sentence, because it serves different purposes. For example, even if there was somebody who didn't listen to you while doing example task, he or she can get, okay, we are filling the gaps. We have this folder, or we do it from the memory. Yeah, it also saves you some time for not explaining it one more time. And ICQs, we will speak a little bit more about them in a minute, but here, what is the tip? We don't ask ICQs to every part of the instruction. It's not needed. let's choose the most troublesome part. So we also anticipate what could be misunderstood, or maybe what parts of instructions could have been hard for students to understand or confusing a little bit. Especially here we speak about instructions to games, different games that can have some steps, board games, or even this find someone who, okay, I will also speak about that later, because you know, I also found that it was one of the most detailed instruction in my life when I was trying to explain it to my youngest students. And a time limit. Why is it important to set a time limit? Not for every task, of course, but especially if we would like to teach students some particular skill, like reading for gist. Yeah, if they are reading a text, they usually want to read it slowly. Someone is even translating every unknown word, but usually before reading in details, we have a gist reading, just to we want our students to get the main idea of the text. Yeah, and here, for example, we can say, okay, read, but you have 1 minute. Quickly read and say, like, what the professions are mentioned in this. They don't need to read all the text detailedly to say it, yeah, or something like that. And it will also help them to have this discipline and see that, okay, this time I don't need to read it detailedly, only they will learn how to read for gist, and it will be helpful for them at the next lessons. And this time limit can be given before or after checking understanding. Also, this is not the rule, only this or that, and so on. ICQs. From your comments, I also saw that when you analyzed my second example at the beginning, lots of you have written that you didn't ask checking understanding questions. So why do we ask ICQs, and what are they? Firstly, they are open-ended questions. Usually, yes, they require short answer, yes or no, and check if the student actually understand the instruction. What should they do and how? So, do we need to ask ICQs after about all the parts of instruction? The answer is no, and I can say it for sure. Now also will speak with you. And the idea of ICQs is to be sure that all the students got it. Okay, so here you can say too, but we can say got it, or do you understand? What mostly students will answer if you ask such a question? Do you understand? Yes. Even they didn't understand, they can say yes because they don't want to look like someone who doesn't know or doesn't get it. Yes, they will feel like, am I more stupid than other or something? So, do you understand isn't an ICQ at all. Sometimes ICQs, like these checking questions, can be avoided. And again, in what cases? When we give the instruction to something that students are well aware of, or something that they have already done and they are familiar with. So in this way, they don't need. Example, they have got a text, you give the instruction, read the text individually. There is no need to ask, so what do you need to do with this text? What can else be done with the text? Of course, read, yeah? So here it's not needed. Also, they should be short and relevant, as we mentioned before. They should require a short answer, not very long. A short answer about time. How many minutes you have? Do you have? Yeah, 5. Do you work individually or in pairs? In pairs. And for example, very important thing when you ask them to discuss questions. Also, I also could see it at my lessons very often. Very easy task, really. What to do? Discuss questions with partners. Okay, go to breakout rooms. Maybe you don't need here any ICQs, but still, they are needed. Because there are usually a student or students in the group who are extroverts and like speaking a lot, and that shy people, introverts, who would rather be silent and listen. And if you don't ask this ICQ, do you answer together, ask together and answer, or only one? Yes, oh, okay, we two ask and answer. Or even ask, how many questions can you, Ola, ask? 2. And how many questions can you, Ola, ask? Also 2. So ask and answer together. So it will prevent from this problem when only one is asking and another one is speaking, or something like that. So here we saw that one part of instruction was not needed to be asked about because they know that they need to read. But here it was important to understand that they realize that only one or 2 of them are speaking. Also, they should be planned. Maybe when I have read this advice, kind of advice, I was thinking, okay, but sometimes we really don't even really have that much time to write our plans in details and write every question, of course. But when we analyze the instruction we have for each task, it is possible for us all to anticipate what can be the most troublesome or the most problematic parts of this, and prepare instructions for these particular parts, because it will save you time at the lesson for the more important things. And they should be asked really right after the instruction was given. Yes, not to forget, if we analyzed what should be asked and how, then it's great to have it in our plan, not to forget. Because sometimes it can happen like this. We gave instruction, put students in pairs, forgot about ICQs, but they were needed. Open breakout rooms, enter breakout rooms, and what happens? Some of students don't understand, and you start asking ICQs in breakout rooms to every pair or every group. Maybe you agree it will not be effective. So speaking about ICQs, they have, as everything else, they have their advantages and disadvantages. So here are some main and the most important pros of them. If you ask ICQs and students answer them, usually a teacher is really sure the students understand and know what to do. And students feel more confident about that, because even if they were lost a little bit on the stage when you were telling what to do, now after asking the questions, they put it on the shelves here and they, okay, first this, second that, and third this. What is also important to remember at this point, maybe you can remember that sometimes we have students who usually aren't attentive, always are asking what to do. And here is a very, very important thing, not to make someone feel uncomfortable. If you know that Andrei is always lost and doesn't listen to you, and come on, what is it? It wouldn't be the best idea to say, Andrei, let's answer some questions. Yes, but maybe better is to say, okay, and now everyone listen. So you again catch attention. and start asking ICQs. Not particularly this Andrei who is not attentive, but maybe ask Maya and now say, listen to Maya. So, and then it's also more likely that they will be more attentive, and even if they didn't hear instruction you've given, they will be now more attentive to the question that you are asking and to the student who is answering, and also then get lost. But if we overwhelm students with ICQs, or if sometimes we ask them to the parts that are obvious and not needed, like what do you need to do with the text? Ta-da, read. Students, what are some cons? Sometimes that can feel uncomfortable, or even does she think that I'm stupid? Why does she always ask what to do? I understand. So see your students, see your group, see your level of the students, and if you see that, okay, it's all usually understood by them, don't ask these ICQs. But if the instruction was so long and you feel that it is very important, then ICQs will be a great tool for you to take their attention and to be sure that they understand. And also, of course, asking these questions take more time, and there is time consuming, but also it will save you this time if the task is more complicated. So here it was about ICQs. And now let's take a look at the checklist. So I also found it useful for me and try to remind it to myself all the time when I have my next lesson. When you are speaking about instructions. So, are they planned by me beforehand? What does it mean? Did I really think how to explain it? Sometimes, especially if you have a new kind of task at the lesson, it's useful to try to explain it before the lesson. I will say like this, like that. Oh, no, it's too long. Maybe I will need to do it shorter. And also will help to avoid too much teacher talk and make them more effective. Also, when I'm given instruction, it's like now it's a wild lesson. Are the students divided into groups before I give the instructions? Okay, yes, they are. Now I can speak. Am I sure that all the students are listening to me? How can I see it? Do we keep eye contact? Do all of them have cameras on? Or if it is offline, doesn't someone turning pages in the book, or doesn't someone look at something on their phone, and so on and so forth? Okay, everyone is listening. I can start speaking. Think about the time when you are giving or showing your materials. Materials can be handouts or the course book. And at this point, what is also important, sometimes students are working only with online book. And here, before they open their pages or their page, online page, it's great to show the screen, to share screen, and maybe zoom only the task they are going to do next. Because if you share all the page, and even if you circle or underline or use the highlighter, okay, we are doing task number 2. So our attention works really similarly, because we automatically start reading what is above and what is below. Yes, and maybe our attention will be not on this particular task. That's why it's very useful to zoom and show only the parts they are doing now. Yes, and it will be really helpful. And after that, we ask students, okay, open page 16, task 2. And then according to the level, we also check if the students really opened. So if you are offline, you can even come to them and look if they open the right page, if they are looking at the right task, especially for smaller ones, and check it like this. Now I analyze my speech. How is it? What is it like? Is it calm, clear? Do I make pauses? And is my language graded? So do I use simple constructions, not very long sentences for my students to get what I want from them, right? And pauses. I would like to stop on it a little bit because sometimes, especially when we teach intermediate, upper intermediate students, we can think that, okay, they have got great level, they can understand, so they can speak fast, let them be like this. But everyone needs a little bit time to think. For example, here is a kind of a task. Think about 3 places you'd like to visit next summer and explain why you choose this. Okay, you can start speaking in breakout rooms, go. Okay, some of them can do it simultaneously and right away, but it would be better to ask, now you have 30 seconds to think about places, please. Don't be afraid of this pause. Let them think. It will also calm them down and make them less stressed. They thought a little, yes. So, and now please share why you chose these places. And if it was slower, it was the time given for them to think, it will work better. Also, the next point in my checklist, where my ICQs prepared for the most important parts of instructions. And the last thing is about the stage when you have given instruction. Your students started working on the task. And what are we doing next? Monitoring in order to give the productive feedback, right? So at this stage, again, it is easier to do offline because you are coming closer to the students in the classroom, and you see, does she circle if it was circling, or maybe she found not the right page, and then you can help right away. Online, it is a little bit more difficult, but also if we organize them and divided them into breakout rooms, what I found an interesting idea from one of the teachers. She says that sometimes, of course, if there aren't 5 groups, but 2, 3 rooms, they also joins the conference on Zoom from another gadget, and she can be at the same time in 2 rooms. Of course, 3 would be the more like harder, but being there, you can quickly monitor if they are at the right page, at the right task, and maybe quickly give them some helping questions or like direction what to change or what to continue or stop doing. So here is such a checklist, and it can be helpful while preparing these instructions. Okay, and now I'd like you to think about some special situations. There will be the like tasks from different level students, and also from different skills or some, okay, how to say, just flown away from my mind, skills or systems. Like if you speak about systems, they are grammar and vocabulary and so on. If they are skills, we know they are writing, speaking, listening, and reading. And what instruction could be done for that, for every of them? Let's start with the first one. This is intermediate level of for young learners, and in this task they are going to listen to the audio and choose what pictures children choose to the room and also answer the questions. Now I'd like you to think for 15 seconds. What instructions would you give? You don't need to write, just think, and then compare with ideas that I've prepared. Okay, let's take a look at the instructions. There are two options. There isn't one fully correct and the second incorrect at all. I'd like you to analyze what good points are in each of them and maybe what is needed to add in one of them. So you remember the task. And now let's compare two possible ways of giving this instruction. So the first one, look at me. We need to analyze according to the steps. Yes, number one was attention. Look, in each of these examples, attention is caught. Look at me and here, listen to. And then we are going to listen to Hazel and then speaking about a chair to choose on a website. And here, listen to a conversation between Hazel and Dan who are talking about choosing a chair. So similar one, yeah. But the first one looks more wordy, what we'll say. We are going to, instead of it, we can just say listen to. Yeah, after catching attention. Also, here it is more explained what is the teacher doing. On this way, the teacher shows the task, like projecting the task, yeah. It says, listen and type full answers to each question. So, as you can see in the second variant, it wasn't said how are they working. But here it is better shown that work individually and write full answers to the questions. And then the teacher zooms to this task and say, first, look at the questions that you've got. So, and this is in the first and in the second variant, right? So they are looking at these questions. It's important because they will need to be focused on something while listening. And after you gave them 15-20 seconds of reading the questions, we can ask ICQs. So also, there are two types of ICQs provided in the first and in the second example. And this is also important to think, to look at your group. If they need it, we can ask, do you work with a partner? Because it was said work individual, maybe sometimes there is no need to ask this because they understand. They are used to it, right? But the second question is very important, so that's why it's here and there, because sometimes they start repeating and re-asking you. Full answers, can I write only one? Or can I write yes only? But if the aim of this task is to develop their writing, not only listening, but also writing skills, then yeah, you say, do you write, what do you write? They can say full answers, or you can ask them yes, no question. Do you write full or short answers? And they will answer full, yeah, or short, and so on. And one more interesting, as I could also remember from the lesson, sometimes they are listening and then start writing. But it doesn't work like this because they will surely lost some important information. It's okay for us, as you know, to stop sometimes, to pause an audio or a video on the important parts and give them this time for writing. So here this ICQ also could be useful because we ask, do you write while or after lesson? And then it focuses their attention that, yeah, we are writing during, not after, because then I will need to play it one more time because someone will be lost. Then here I started, let's start. It was omitted here, but of course it was said. And also that is, if we are working on Zoom, to stop after 1-2 seconds and clarify if the sound is okay. Because some of them can be too shy to say that they don't hear, and then you will just lost them and their attention. So as we can see, like all the stages are taken, right? Attention, we said what they're going to do. Then we said pattern individually. And after that, here we didn't do any example task together, right? Because there wasn't such a possibility, and it wasn't that task that needed it. And we could see different possible ICQs. Maybe you have your own ideas, what else can be added or contrary taken away from here. So I'd like you to share. You can do it in Padlet or in chat as comfortable. Or if you agree with everything, just write it. That's okay, or something like that. I want you to comment on it because you were thinking before. Maybe you also had some other ideas to some of the parts. I'm looking. It needed some time to receive your feedback. Okay, it was, these were comments. I don't understand why they are below. These were some comments for the previous question. So if you have this, Padlet, you can comment there or in chat. Oh, interesting question. Yes, thank you for it. Do you copy your friends' answers or answers yourself? Yes, sometimes it's important, especially if you have this tendency of someone copying it as partner's answers. It was a little bit similar to what we said. Yes, does only one person asks, or do you do it in turns? And again, now I asked, do you do it in turns? Students of elementary level cannot mostly likely not understand what is in turns, but Ola, do you ask 2 questions and Andrei 2? It will be more suitable for this level, right? Okay, thank you. The next example, it is just practicing. This is upper intermediate level, and they are here practicing modal verbs. Simple task, just filling in the gaps. Also, take 10 seconds to think about your instructions you would give to your students doing this task. What is important to mention? What ICQs could have been needed here? And let's compare with ideas here. So also pay attention. We catch attention, listen, or then we say, let's have some practice, or we are going to practice models. This and that is possible. Then I say, look at the task. You'll need to fill in the gaps. So maybe it would be also here, I didn't set the pattern individually, they're doing it or together. Yes, and here it's better shown that work individually and fill in the gaps with the right model in each sentence. And here I say that you will be working individually for 4 minutes. So time can be set before or in the end, but if you do it in the end, more likely that they will remember this better. Of course, if you use a timer, it is the best option, but still. Also here, as you can see from this example, maybe ICQs are given a little bit too early, right? Also, it depends on the group. Sometimes they don't need doing example 1 together if they are strong enough and they are familiar with it, right? But here you can there is also an example of a question: where do you think should you take prepositions from memory? Or simpler, you can ask, what do you write? Models, are they given? No, so they need to take them from the memory. How much time do you have? It about the time limited, they say how many minutes. Or as it is shown here in this example, we are doing number 1 together. And also what is important here, if you are doing an example sentence together with the students, it's great to ask why. Please read the first sentence. What do you think is the correct model? Why? And they will also understand, yes, does everyone agree? Because then you will see that they really got the thing, the meaning. And when they are like writing these models, they will also think about the function. Why should we have to, not must, or don't have to, and so on. Also, you ask here about the pattern, interaction pattern in pairs or individually, and writing. Another example is this is the production freer practice task for elementary students. They are practicing using present simple and present continuous, describing habits of pets, of animals, and this is the beginning of this page. And the example is already given. Usually my cat eats a lot, but it's sleeping a lot this week, and they have these phrases to use. So they have this control, so it is control practice because it has helping material for them to use. And possible instructions that could be given here. Also, take a look at them too, and I will shortly comment a little bit of them. There, as you can see, this is part of attention was skipped, but we can do it really easily. Listen, please. 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. Yeah, this is for the youngest children. And then we say, let's practice the use of verbs. Or you can do it from the beginning, work individually and think of the animals in these pictures. But what would be better to use for elementary students? I would say that the first variant, right? So shorter sentences. It takes less minutes to tell it, and then you discuss all together during giving the ICQs what should be done, right? And as you can see here, these are not ICQs, but CCQs according to the concept. But sometimes, if you see that some of your students struggle with the topic that is being discussed, whether it is grammar or vocabulary, during asking ICQs which are here, do you work alone or with a partner? Which tenses should you use? So in the second example, sometimes it is not appropriate to ask what tenses should you use, because we usually don't say that we study present simple or present continuous, but we try to explain that we are speaking about repeated actions or habits, and also something that is happening right now, without naming these like definitions of tenses. Yes, so maybe here I would like omit these words, but instead of it also added some CCQs like here. And also there is one more ICQ given here. Do you have to explain your answer? Why? Because when they choose he eats in the morning, but this week it isn't eating, they need to be ready to explain. Here I chose eats because always, every day, and here I chose isn't eating because it's only this week. Yes, or now. It's depending on the functions and what they are studying. And after that, also the time is set, and here is the start of the task. Okay, it was a grammar practice, and here we have got it was before, something that has been before. I just wanted to show you what was the task for practicing. They were practicing giving advice with using pictures and given verbs in the box, and after I am giving them a speaking task for production. They have to think about own advice of how to stay healthy. Also, take like some seconds to look through these examples. Okay, commenting on that, I would say that the first is there are less words used. The second one is more detailed, but maybe also more useful and better in some cases, because this is production part. And at this stage, it is important to be sure that students really understand what should they do, and they will not need this explanation and will be able to produce new language. And especially these were these phrases for giving advice: should, you'd better, and so on. So here I first put their attention to the previous task done. Yes, you have written different ideas of advice based on pictures, but now think about yourself. So yeah, I make it personalized. Think about 3 pieces of advice you'd give to stay healthy. And here it's important to give them this time for thinking. And here they will need not 15 seconds, but like a minute or 2 to think. Give that time. And they think then. Eat fresh, drink fresh water, eat fruits and vegetables, and so on and so forth. And after they finished, okay, also there are some ICQs for this stage. How many advice do you think about? What kind of advice? Yes, 3, not 1, not 5, not 10, only 3. Do you think about the reasons why? Yes, so they have this time to think about reasons too. They work on this, and after is the next part of instruction. Imagine that you speak all of this right away. They will get lost for sure. After thinking for 2 minutes, you continue. Now I'd like you to give recommendations to each other. So here it would be better to say a little bit shortly. Now you give your recommendations and explain why. Yes, make it shorter. And here also ICQs go. What phrases can we use eliciting? Which word do you use when we want to give a reason? Because here are two aims, right? And here you can give your example to be sure that they understand really well. Like, you should exercise regularly because it helps you to keep fit. Now listen to each other and choose which piece of advice you think is the most important and why. And again, here is another idea. Now they need to listen to his or her partner and choose something useful for them. Yes, another step. And new ICQs needed here. Should you read all 3 ideas? Of course. Should you listen to your partner? Why? Because they need to choose the most important. And then set in the time, 5 minutes, and start. So here were some ideas. Hopefully you all use these too, but maybe some of these were great reminders or something that you would like to take for yourself. I also would like on this point to comment, was this structure useful, or maybe like this, it wasn't a good instruction, I'm sorry. What was the most interesting or important for you at this stage, at this point? You can write in chat now. Yeah, I'm taking. Looking at it. What was the most interesting or important for you at this stage? I'm so grateful for all your activity because it helps me to understand that I am listened to and you're with me. A checklist, thank you. Okay, we'll use it. Me too. You know, all the time when preparing something and then, okay, I can use it in my work. ICQs, okay. Yes, you know, also can say that while preparing, I found something completely new, you know, and it shows how important it is to be open to new ideas, or just someone who masters in it, also like listening to other people who have more experience or maybe worked on it more. Okay, thank you very much. And the last thing for today is short, and also it underlines what are some other ways than just verbal given instructions. But because usually before doing the tasks, yes, we just say, okay, read the text, answer the questions, do this, do that, and then, and so on. So we verbally explain or say what to do. But sometimes there are some other ideas how to do it, and they are more useful and better in some special situations or cases. First, I really like and enjoy is do it yourself. It's not always called like this, but for me, it's do it yourself. It means that I do this instead of explaining because it is time consuming. And how it looks like. One more task. Oh, as I mentioned, one a little bit before, find someone who. It would be for me too long to say that, okay, you need to find a person who has got a brave friend, likes fast cars, and then I will need to explain that you need to ask everyone in your group. If the person says yes, you write his or her name. And also, please don't just say has got a brave friend. Ask a question. You need to ask a question like, have you got a brave friend? Do you like fast cars? Please don't say just likes. Long, and even for me it's mind-blowing, but better for this kind of tasks, or this is an onion ring discussion or something like that. It's better to start your instruction with doing it yourself. You, or if you have two stronger students who already did it and know, you just take your book. I usually did it with my smaller ones. When having offline lessons, it was easier, of course. I just took a book and says, okay, Olenka, have you got a brave friend? Yes. And I write, do I write Olenka? Did she say yes? And they say, yeah, she said yes. Okay, Olenka has got a brave friend. Then I go to Oleg. Oleg, do you like fast cars? Yes. And again, I write, Oleg. Then Nikita, have you got a fat cat? No. And here I write, ask ICQ right away. Can I write Nikita? No. Did he say yes? No. I go to Julia and ask, Julia, have you got a fat cat? Yes. And write Julia. After making this demonstration, yeah, we can call it do-it-yourself demonstration right away. They see how and they start doing it. Of course, there can be some troubles and problematic things. You can write it. Yes. Yes, thank you for your ideas. Also, I don't understand if you mean what I will say, but still, I can write it as well. But in this way of demonstration, they will cut the idea better for sure. So it was the first. TPR, which is total physical response, is understandable because what is also useful, especially for the youngest students, it's always show everything in gestures. Like, listen, look, tick, cross. And if they are used to your gestures that you usually use, then, for example, at the next lesson, when they have true, false, or ticking, crossing, you can just show. Or like this. Yeah, and they know what to do. Using TPR is always helpful, even if it is, you can provide the simplest thing, which can be like 1, 2, 3. So first, read. Second, true, false. Third, discuss. Yes, and then even you can ask them to show fingers with yourself, and it works like this. When students are touching, if they are using their hands and their senses, it will help them understand and remember that. Student to student, this is the method when you have really stronger students and you know that he or she can explain, and important, not very long. So you gave instruction first, of course, and then you ask, okay, Ola, what do you need to do? And she shortly say, of course, you're listening, and maybe if she's explaining with too long details and questions, you can just stop her on some points and ask question. Individually. Okay, do you write or read? And so on. Paraphrasing, it also, when, for example, when they have a task written in the book and they see what to do, but also maybe they didn't get it, and you say the same thing but in other words, make it simpler or more understandable. Or draw. Sometimes it's easier, doesn't take much time, and you can do it even before the lesson. Here I have one example that I made. So instruction, yes, read, answer the question, compare. I show it, and right away they can start working together. Okay, here it was. I hope that it was useful, and some of them also can be, I wouldn't say new, because all of us have some time ago heard about that, but maybe useful for your practice, and you will take it for yourself. What I will also would like to mention, as I'm a representative of a really nice project, TalkEn.Cloud. I hope that you also have heard about that, or maybe some of you even uses materials or this platform for lessons. It's enjoyable. It is very exciting for me as a tutor, as a teacher, with especially individuals or also groups. What is TalkEn.Cloud platform? That is a really multifunctional online platform for teaching, because it has the learning management system, very easy in usage, and also complete leveled language program from beginners to upper intermediate students. And this platform has got lots of useful tools for teachers and students, like what the teacher has. Yeah, I'm speaking for those who didn't hear about this before. In your teaching cabinet, you have the access to the interactive workbooks with teaching tips. Also, if you lead the group, then you will have this tool for assigning tasks and course materials to students. It takes really little time. You just set what tests they are doing. You can also see their progress there. Here is electronic attendance. You can also see the students' progress and attendance. The certificates are generated after completing the courses. And also, as a teacher, you have the access to webinars and training sessions all the time that can be useful in your career. And as well, if you have a group of students, there is the teacher book. There are plans for the really detailed with even well-prepared ICQs and CCQs before. Of course, you can then change it and do it by yourself, but using already prepared is also a very great idea. And using the TalkEn.Cloud platform, students receive their own cabinet, in which they have their material for self-study or homework. And this is an interactive workbook, so they are doing everything online, checking themselves right away. And also they can see the teacher's feedback, because a teacher can give some comments and write there. Also, books are designed by Ukrainian team of practicing teachers. With the help of this, all the topics are up to date, and also lots of extra activities for revision and extra activities of practicing the material that is being learned. So if you are interested, and maybe you haven't used the platform before, it's really worth it. You can try the demo version of it, so and you can find out more information about this platform. You can watch the video on the YouTube channel that you are right now here. There is a special one special webinar, which is also is said a little bit more about the platform. Here it is. One more thing that maybe I would like to remind you a little bit that I have mentioned before too, that all the materials you will receive on your emails, the test, the short information from the webinar as well. Thank you very much for your time that you dedicated to be here. You can also now share your feedback. I would be very grateful. If you have any questions according to the content or some other related questions, I will be here for you for a little bit more time. So waiting for you in chat. Thank you for joining. I receive thanks. That is super. I'm grateful. Any questions? Propositions? I'm happy that it was interesting. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Reading your comments, it is really heartwarming because it's easier to have trainings or sessions with people who are participating, speaking, and asking something, but speaking like that, it is really cool when you are writing, and I see that we are together on one wave. Okay, looks like that is it. So thank you a lot again. Let your instructions be clear, let your lessons bring your joy, satisfaction, and thankful, excited students. Hope to see you again. Enjoy your evening, and bye.